Good day and welcome to Dukascopy TV. I'm Andrew SAKS-MCLEOD of LeapRate, your Forex industry news source. Today we're joined in studio by Mordecai Holtz, who is the CEO of Blue Thread Marketing. Good afternoon, Mordecai.
Good afternoon, how are you?
Great, nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too.
There are some companies in the industry which have dedicated their resources purely to digital media advertising for Forex, consultancy work for Forex companies through digital advertising. But what's interesting about Blue Thread Marketing is that you're also involved in other industry sectors and have taken on some kind of concentration in Forex. Why specifically Forex? And do you think that there's a huge difference between the necessity to retain clients in Forex industry because it's such a liquid business compared to other
So that's a good question. You're right. Many companies, many digital marketing companies have indeed, like we do also work on a consultancy basis for various, across industries, from nonprofits, startups, small businesses, e-commerce businesses. The reason why, I find Forex to be exciting is because it's a very, like you said, a very fluid business. It's a very fluid market in terms of the amount of information and content that's being produced on a daily basis, if not on an hourly basis, because of the pairs and the various factors playing all at the same time to impact the various financial markets. And also, I think it's the most opportunity for really to shine is for an area or an industry like Forex, which can sometimes be questionable because of its the higher risk. Because of that, I find it, for me at least, and for the people that work with me, we find it to be a little bit more a challenge, but also much more of an opportunity because of the fact that we can create the value. In fact, recently, when discussing this industry with some other people who work in the industry, our core content team, the one that I work with on a day-to-day basis, and the high quality content has been the issue, has been the one thing that has been a star in our ongoing strategy.
I think that's absolutely right. I think I would agree with you, and I think that I might be roundabout. I'm talking approximately, but it seems to me that nowadays the rough cost of client acquisition for a retail client to a Forex company is around $800. So something like that. And then on top of that, you have a retention cost, and it's a very short lifetime value of a client. So all of this is a factor. And of course, if a company only makes $2,000 or $3,000, $5,000 out of each acquisition, then this is pretty much a loss, really. Yeah. And then you have companies that churning clients like that all the time in the retail side. Right. This is something which is probably advantageous to digital marketing consultancies because you have other technological ways of keeping the cost down, and plus avoiding companies getting themselves into inefficient, ineffective, all-encompassing advertising campaigns that are relatively not worth it. Correct.
In fact, the $800 is pretty accurate in terms of the cost per acquisition, and it's in comparison to the other industries like e-commerce or something like that. It's significantly higher, and obviously we already know that cost of acquisition and the cost to to secure a new customer is much higher than it is to maintain and to retain a current customer, an existing client or existing customer. And I think that's where the Forex industry and the platforms that are being used right now in digital via digital marketing campaigns and strategies. I think what's going on now, at least in this industry, is that people are too quick to drop their because they see the high investment in acquiring your customer. They're not taking the time, and instead of investing more in the retention, they're just trying to in some ways they're almost losing money at a faster rate because of the fact that they're not taking the time to maintain and retain the customers that they have. So what they're really doing is spending more money, and they could probably doing is making a bigger sale and a bigger providing more value to their existing customers rather than trying to spend more money and more effort of it, whether it means effort of financial, whether effort of staff or effort of content. They could be doing a much better job engaging, reaching out to, and providing new services to the existing customers. And by default, as soon as you do that, those customers will become brand ambassadors and ambassadors for the product. Even especially in Forex, when there's such a high, very high, the competition is very high.
Yeah, that's absolutely for sure. And exactly as you mentioned, companies that may be put off by the cost of acquisition, they look at the chief financial officer will look at the account and say, oh my goodness, there's $50,000 on acquisitions over a course of a month, and then they'll make cuts on retention. But the problem with that is that generally you see that brands and white labels and companies that are maybe underneath prime brokerages fold their operations within 2 years because of it.
Correct. Because what they're doing is they're trying to make, they're trying to make their money. They're trying to spend. They're spending a lot of money on the initial acquisition, and not taking any time or effort of any resources to really maintain and to retain. And I think that's where it's not an industry. In Forex, it happens to be a very prevalent issue or situation, but it's across many of the industries right now. Especially in the technology sector as well, the issue of acquiring the customer and then retaining them, and the question always becomes, what can a company do, what can a brand do? In the Forex industry, I think because there's so much data being used and being collected in order, besides this the very highly sensitive data that's being used for financial trading, the data that's being used could be it's a valuable asset to the company, to the platform, and the company and the platform should be doing is using that data to track trends, to understand behaviors and patterns, and those trends should be the ones that are determining future, whether it's content, whether it's value, whether it's product, whether it's services of any kind, should be the ones that are then used as a way to provide that existing customer with more opportunities to utilize the services that the platform offers.
Yeah, I think I sometimes draw the comparison between technology providers and the Forex industry, which are provided technology by exactly those firms, in such that the companies, in order to get a better service to them and to attract Forex companies away from existing technology providers to new ones, have taken all their technology onto cloud-based virtual servers, which in itself has had the same effect exactly as the client onboarding process for Forex companies. If a Forex brokerage, for example, is not happy with a technology provider, they can just call another one and it's disconnected without any hardware being disconnected, just taken the services provided from elsewhere, and you pay your subscriptions elsewhere. It's exactly the same as the actual end user, which should stand you in very good stead, I would have thought.
Yes. That's exactly right. In fact, one of the things that I've been suggesting and kind of advocating for with this Forex client, but any other clients that have mentioned the issue of the other Forex clients and other customers in this sector, I've said is that we should be rewarding the people who are loyal to our platforms and to the service, and second of all, we should also be doing is, you mentioned, especially with technology the way it is now, we also should be doing, and this is kind of one of our steps moving forward, is also, in light of the technology advancements that we have, basically we have the data that I mentioned before. The technology exists already. Now it's time for Forex industry and basically any industry to really do is to kind of integrate and to onboard the basically the personalization and also the mobile. The two issues that I think those three sections together are basically what's going to be to differentiate the real companies for the future of. In Forex, it could be a Forex, it could be any industry really, is how they use the data that they have, how they personalize the data around personalize the content and the service, or the content or the product to the user, and also how they provide something that's valuable and easily consumable on a mobile platform. Because basically nowadays pretty much anyone is using some sort of mobile device. And that's where the future is going to be lying. Is if a platform in Forex provides some sort of mobile-friendly and easily usable, easily to use, and very easily to navigate, some sort of well-designed platform that's mobile-friendly and mobile, I guess we could call it mobile-ready. That will make them stand out. And those three aspects like I said, the data, the data, using the data and using the mobile, and then personalizing those two aspects towards consumer behaviors will be the ones that will be the successful Forex companies. At least in my opinion.
You're absolutely right. And you're actually starting to see brokerages now, some of them, starting to take the step to being mobile only, mobile led they call it, mobile only. They'll do away with the some of them, not all of them, some of them doing away with the desktop platform altogether, going to mobile devices. So you're absolutely right, and you're one step ahead of pretty much everybody. So
yeah, it's pretty clear that that's the industry trend. I mean, industry in Forex, it could be any industry really, but those are the companies and the brands. And especially since I'm so entrenched in the Forex industry, it's clear that this industry has the opportunity because it's such a high volume, high traffic, and it can be done anywhere. So people who are going anywhere to travel and to trade are using these devices much more than someone who sits at a desk job in wherever and using a computer, because the information is there readily available and people are consuming content so much more on a mobile device nowadays. It would make a substantial amount of sense for the company to just either provide something that's, instead of the desktop friendly version, or just a complete, like you said, replace it. They're doing it now, using the mobile devices as a way to engage with their consumers now. Will be the ones that then they have a much bigger opportunity for the future.
Yeah, spot on indeed. Quite right. Very good to speak to you, Mordecai, as always.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure, and hope to see you soon.
Likewise. All the best.
All the best. Bye-bye. I'm Andrew SAKS-MCLEOD. You're watching Dukascopy TV.